What's up, dudes? Long time no see. A little longer than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to bore you guys with my boat buying debacles I've had here lately, but I've had a hard time trying to buy a boat. Some of you guys might have seen my Instagram story like a month ago talking about I'm working on something super sketchy. Well, this isn't it. That deal fell through, along with about 5 other boats that I've tried to buy here lately. Not to mention all the ones that I come across on Marketplace that I was interested in and message somebody and they never reply back. I don't know what's going on. But I finally made something work. And it is a little bit different than what I've done before. So I'm kind of excited about it. What we're dealing with right here is a 1999 DuraCraft bass boat. I pulled a tape on it and it measures 16.5. Not exactly sure. It's 16.5 from the farthest part in the back of the boat to the very tip. So I don't know if it's a 16.5 or a 16. Anyhow, it's 48 inches across the bottom, which is kind of a standard 16-foot boat. Ugly. Okay, this boat is ugly. You can tell it is hunter green with like a hunter green carpet. But I think this boat is 100% aluminum. It actually says on the back of the transom, it says all aluminum transom. So that is freaking awesome. I believe by walking on the floors and the deck that the deck and floors are 100% aluminum. That is freaking awesome too. And the selling feature, in my opinion, of this boat is right there. We have a 75 horsepower Yamaha on it. Of course, I've told you guys numerous times, don't buy a boat that's kind of pricey without hearing the motor run. So what do you think I did? Yeah, I bought it without hearing it run. I'm really hoping that everything is going to be okay on this boat. It does have some minor things, like I have no idea if the bilge pump works, any of the lights, navigation lights, anchor lights. I do know the trim and tilt works, so that's a plus. But what excites me more than anything about this boat is I feel like I got a really good deal on it. It was not a cheap, just John boat like I'm kind of used to doing on the channel. I did have to pay a little bit more for it, but if I can get everything running on this boat, take it out, and everything works like it's supposed to, I think I could possibly double my money on it, which is very rare for me in this channel. So I'm kind of stoked about that. And it's a good time of the year to be trying to sell a bass boat. So still, we kind of getting teetering to the late part, but I think we still kind of hit it as long as we can get this done, quickly enough. Anyhow, that's a quick overview on it. I haven't even really looked at the boat, to be honest with you guys. I stepped in it, walked all around, felt like everything was aluminum, which kind of sold me on it. Not to mention, like I said, the Yamaha. And, I don't know. We just got a few things that we're going to have to go over. It's not perfect by any means. You can see the decals all jacked up. Like I said, I think this might be a money maker. Hopefully I'm not jinxing myself. I'm going to knock on some wood. Let's take a look at it and see what we got. And guys, like I said, I think this is a 1648 or a 16.5 48 DuraCraft bass. You can only catch bass out of it, which I guess is the downfall to some of your catfishing guys, but DuraCraft bass boat. Got a 75 horse 2-stroke 2-smoke Yamaha on the back of it, which, I mean, for a 16 or a 16.5 foot boat, 75 horse Yamaha, I have a feeling this boat ought to go pretty good on the water. I said earlier, DuraLife all metal transom. That is awesome, in my opinion. I'm gonna fool around with stupid wood transoms. So you can kind of see the graphics on this side are in better shape. You also see we have some very 90s carpet, even though this boat is a 99. As you can see right here, last 2 digits of your whole ID number, 99.9% of the time is going to be the year of your boat, unless you run into some really, really old boat. Let's see what we got. I know we have, I don't know, that's actually kind of weird. We have 2 batteries, but they're tied together, which don't make too much of sense. You should have a cranking battery and a trolling motor battery. I don't understand why they're tied together. One of them is 22, so this battery is not that old. I can't find a date code on this battery. Like, look at it a little bit longer. So hopefully one battery will be okay. If not, I have a brand new cranking battery that we can make the cranking battery. So anyhow, right here we have it's like a plastic fuel cell. Of course, you know, the batteries. We have, this is obviously some kind of live well. It looks like a divider right there. I'm guessing this is the drain, your overflow for the live well. look at the other side in a second. You see, we got a metal lid, so that's good. I also have some storage under here. What do we have? Oh, don't need that. I have 2 life jackets, so that's good. All of this is aluminum, as you see, so that's good. We got a old Lowrance high definition fish finder, speedometer, which I saw on the back of the boat on the transom. You got your volts, your RPMs. That's all you have on gauges. We do not have a windshield. Don't know if it came with a windshield. This looks just like a regular storage. I have another storage here. Looks like it's wet. Got some jumper cables. I got some rope. Another one of these anchors. I'm gonna start selling these things. I got a million of them. I don't know if that's wet from water or is this a live well. Yeah, that's just dry storage. It just got wet. He probably washed it or something. Another metal lid, like I said. All this feels metal to me, which is cool. We got this trolling motor. Oh, it actually has some kind of outboard marine ID on it. I don't know what that is, but it's a Johnson. I guess that's why it has an outboard marine thing on it, because it's a really old Johnson unit. We're missing the tell you where you're going thingy. Guy said it worked. It's got one. Look at this old plug, and actually it says DuraCraft on it. Were they using this kind of setup in 1999? I don't know, maybe I'm just out of date. Where I wish it wasn't missing that thing. I don't know what that is. That looks like some kind of maybe crappie pole setup somebody may have added. I don't know. Like a trolling system. We have a rod locker. How about that? Maybe. Well, I don't know. That's gonna be a short rod, ain't it? But it's a locker. Anyway, might be able to drill some holes in here and make it a good size rod locker. All this is aluminum too, so that's good. I think we're missing some of these latches, and we don't have a key for any of them. Of course, we have this right here. Like I said, looks like that is your divider. Keep your bait over here, or fishing a bass tournament, your cull bass maybe, I don't know. Got one end of a ratchet strap. So we have a live well, 2 storage compartments, well 3 counting the one under the seat, and somewhat of a rod locker. I don't know, I have to get one of my poles out there. I don't look like it'll fit a really long bass pole, but it's better than nothing. We'll see. All right, on to the bad. It came with the seats, which I think this is the best seat. They match the boat, but unfortunately, with all these vinyl seats, you can see it's kind of roached out, and matching this color is probably gonna be impossible. So I don't exactly know what we're gonna do right there to make this look decent. Not sure what that is either. This front seat it's okay-ish. I don't know, we might have to just get by not doing anything to them. It might get too expensive trying to replace these seats. Let's hop up in here. Oh, we've got a net too. Like I said, these floors are solid. It feels like I'm walking on aluminum. I might have to do a little research, but I want to say this boat is 100% aluminum. We have Yamaha controls. We have a key. Have our kill switch, which has been customized a little bit. And we got a fuel gauge down here. That's kind of neat. I don't know if it'll change if the battery's live. Let's not crank that over yet. So the fuel gauge don't look like it's working. The guy told me, he said, I don't understand what this one switch is. He said it's fuel, but nothing changes when he clicked it. So I don't know if that's supposed to be your fuel gauge or what. And then we have lights, which is, I guess, your anchor lights and nav lights. I haven't seen any of those laying around in here, so I'll have to get some of those. And this is the bilge, which I do not hear coming on. So I'm guessing, let's check this fuse real quick. That fuse looks good. So I'll have to check that out. Luckily, bilge pumps are relatively cheap. You have your aerator. Woo! That sounds like it's doing something. We got a pig getting slaughtered back there. Have a horn. Hey. Horn works.
works.
The tilt and trim do work. He bumped it for me. I don't know if anything else works. I'd love to throw the muffs on it today and get it running, but it is late for me, so it's gonna have to wait. Unfortunately, we got a lot of rain coming in the next couple of days, so might have to wait till after then. Still got Rebel annoying me, but yeah, I always look at it. We got a stainless prop. I believe this is a 1998 Yamaha 75 horse. Like I said, I feel like a 75 horse two-stroke ought to push this boat really good. So I'm kind of excited about getting this thing on the water. I think that's what is going to be our first step on this thing is, you know, making sure everything works that's supposed to work. Make sure this thing runs good. And take it to the lake and see what she does. I'm kind of excited about this little boat. Like I said, we ain't going to do a whole lot to it. I like to do a trolling motor swap, clean it up really good. I don't know if I can find these decals. Be nice if we could. If not, you know, I have to just live with it. Haven't really assessed the trailer. The trailer is, the wiring doesn't really match up on it. It looks like somebody spliced it over time. So we'll have to check into that too. We don't have any straps in the back. I had these just in the back of my truck and threw them on there. But like I said, everything else seems to be, pretty good. Like I said, we can try to figure out something with the seats. If not, might have to live with these. Like I said, this isn't going to be like a 100% build. I would love to go ahead and take up all this carpet and redo it with HydroTurf, but, you know, is that going to be worth it? It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. No, it would look really good, but like I said, we'll cross that bridge if we get there. Not really planning on it. Really want to do just like a scuff and shoot on this thing, you know, get everything working as good as possible, clean it up, and just try to flip it. And hopefully it's not a flop. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off for today. And hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow, if possible. Maybe Tuesday, see if we can't get this thing fired up. All right, it's the next day. Rainy day, as you can see. I went ahead and stopped by Walmart. This boat had a cheap fuel line on it from Walmart, so I went ahead and did the right thing and got another cheap fuel line from Walmart. Put it on there. Replaced it. I had a pair of those transom straps too. Went ahead and threw on there. And I learned a little bit more about the boat. Got a little information on that old antique trolling motor. That's actually a 1998 Johnson trolling motor. I didn't even know they made Johnson trolling motors. Johnson and Evinrude, which same company, made trolling motors. So I don't know. Maybe I'll check it out. It's a 12 volt. Still don't understand why them batteries are tied together, because if you're trolling all day and you wear your battery out, well, how are you going to get home back to the boat ramp because your battery's dead? Anyhow, got the rabbit ears hooked up. I actually have cranked this thing up. It's running okay. I'll let you guys hear it. Definitely gonna have to do a little work to it. Probably pull the carbs off. It's got 3 carbs on it. This boat's been sitting up since at least 2019, so I'm sure they're gummed up a little bit. You know, can't rely on everybody to use non-ethanol gas. Shoot, I don't even do it all the time in my big boat. I get it when I can. And when I can't get it, I try to get some seafoam to add to it. But I dumped a little seafoam in it, went and got some non-ethanol gas, poured in it. I don't know exactly how much fuel is in the tank, but there is gas in it. I'll go ahead and crank it up and let you guys hear it. Shoot, if I can get this motor running good, I think this motor is worth more than what I paid for this boat. All right, let's crank it up, see what she sounds like. She's a little sputtery. I let her run for a while and forward, and you know, wide open it sounds like it's missing a little bit. Like I said, it's probably a clogged jet on one of them carburetors. At least that's what I'm hoping. But I mean, it's turning some RPM, and you know, other than that, it sounds pretty good. It don't really want to idle. It could be an adjustment. It'll idle for a little bit, then die. I don't want to make too much of an assessment before I pull them carbs off and clean them. They've been sitting for that long. I'm sure they're pretty funky. So I just wanted to make sure the thing ran and it's peeing, which I'm probably going to go ahead and order a impeller anyways, because that's a smart thing to do. This thing's been sitting up for a while. Shoot it, who knows, it might have never been changed. But we'll go ahead and do that and clean them carbs while we're working on the rest of the stuff. All right, good deal. We don't have a motor that's blown up at least. Well, we got a small window without rain this morning, so I'm going to attempt to get these carbs off. This is not an oiling motor, I see. Oil injected motor, so I mean, I kind of like that. Most people delete them anyways. First time I messed with a motor that's got multiple carburetors, so this is going to be new to me. Go ahead and snatch them off and clean them up. Probably clean up this whole motor. We got some dirt daubers. Looks like they'd taken up residence in here at one time. Get it all cleaned up. Probably pull these spark plugs, see how they look. I did order a new fuel filter, which I think is supposed to be here sometime this week. I ordered an impeller for it too. So get all them things knocked out on this motor. But main thing is these carbs. See if it don't help it run a little bit, and I might run to the store and get some spark plugs too. I got all put back together. I actually checked them spark plugs and they look pretty good. So I'm probably just gonna go with them unless it just don't run right. Got it spiffied up a little bit. It ain't no deluxe detail, but it's like when you go to the car wash and they got that economy wash. That's what we did to it. Not exactly new money, but I'd say it's, you know, a big face bill, right? I also almost forgot, flipped that cowl upside down and looked, and there's like 5 or 6 dirt dauber nests under there. I had to knock it out and get them broke free and washed out. Kind of letting that dry. Go ahead and put these muffs back on, fire up, and see if she ain't running a little bit better. We got that sorted out, I do believe. Of course, we need to test it on the water to be sure. What do y'all want to do now? I think the easy thing to do is go ahead and unredneck this battery. Like I said, they got it wired parallel, so it's not like a 24 volt system. You're still getting 12 volts, you're just upping your amp hours, I believe. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I usually am wrong. Y'all know more than I do. I think the way it is right now, all it's going to do is when you're trolling, it's going to take from both batteries, and that just don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Because if you troll a lot, you run your batteries down, you might run your cranking battery down. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just take these off. Probably I might need to do a little bit of wire chasing, make sure all the accessories are on the cranking battery, and we just got the trolling motor on the trolling battery. Let's go ahead and knock that out real quick, and hopefully we won't catch nothing on fire. I went ahead and popped those both off, checked everything. Everything's still working. Like I said, that necessarily wasn't hurting anything, I don't think. I just haven't seen it set up like that for your cranking battery and your deep cycle. Like, you can do that setup on a 12 volt trolling motor and double your amp hours, but I just don't understand why somebody would do that with their cranking battery. I don't know. Like I said, maybe whoever had this boat before never ran the motor. Maybe, I don't know, and they just trolled all the time. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, it looks like you got room for another battery over there. You could run one, maybe. Shoot, I don't know. Like I said, that's odd. Also, I got the messing around over here, and the bilge pump turning on, and it's actually running. Y'all hear that? It's just super, super quiet. So, that's cool. I was worried about having to chase wires for that thing. I would like to clean up some of this wiring. I mean, we got splices, and I don't know what this goobery stuff is. That would be the right thing to do. I want to do it right, but I also don't want to spend $1 million doing so, picking up what I'm laying down. All right, I guess what we're going to do now is go ahead and start cleaning this thing up a bit. I mean, this thing's been sitting since 2019. slowly start cleaning this thing up, vacuuming all the carpet, all the little hatches, get everything clean. Maybe try to pressure wash this carpet some. See if we can't get this boat to turn around a little bit. Old booger green boat, booger green bass boat. I also want to show you guys, I deployed the trolling motor and it works. This pedal feels super stiff trying to turn it. You don't have a whole lot of direction on it. That's all the way down. That's all the way up. But like I said, it's working. Can't read the whatever this is on it. So I don't know if we even had reverse. I need to get in here with something, PB blaster or something, see if we can't loosen some of this stuff up maybe. Said I'd like to replace the trolling motor, but like I just said, you know, I want to spend $1 million. If one pops up on Facebook, you know, a good Minn Kota, go ahead and pop it on here, but I'm not going to buy a new one. So if I can't find a good deal, we're going to live with the Johnson. All right, let's clean this boat up a little bit. I found some goodies when I was cleaning the boat out. Got a spare key to the kill switch that was broke. I wish that was the keys to the little hatches, but oh well. Also found this. This is the little indicator for the trolling motor, the direction thing. Not exactly sure how it goes on. I guess this is the lens for it. Guess it popped off. See if we can't rig that back on. It'll be at least complete looking if we keep it. I don't know how much he's gonna come around. Probably not a whole lot, to be honest with you guys. You see how much mud I was getting out of this carpet? I mean, it just kept on. I ain't got all day. Really need to take it up to the car wash and do this. Because right here it's kind of not level, and that's why I got that pool. But that'll look a little bit better. One other thing, I plugged the little fish finder up. The transducer and the power were unplugged. Plugged them back up. It beeped, but the screen won't come on. So I might scour Marketplace for a depth finder, fish finder, because that'd be, you know, pretty easy. Just throw one on right there and, you know, wire it down, because the transducer's on this side, so it'd be pretty easy to do. I might go ahead and do that. I have an idea about the seats. Since we didn't run into any problems with the motor, I feel like we got a decent budget. You know, both batteries seem to be working good. We don't have to spend $100 on a battery. So I might, I don't know, I can't find anything green in a bench seat. That's what sucks. I'd like to keep it a bench, but I might have to go with 2 bucket seats right here, which, I mean, they might be big enough to fill up the space. If not, I might have a little spot for some cup holders or something, I don't know. Don't want to blow the budget, but I also would like to put a little, you know, touch to it, and these seats are pretty roached out. So all right, let this thing dry and get back after it tomorrow. Coming around all right. Oh, booger bass boat. I actually ended up taking this thing to the car wash, trying to wash it out, and I mean, I guess it's a little cleaner. It really needs to be washed several times. It might come back around a little bit better, but I mean, that'll have to do for now. Just did a couple of other things too. Added me some cleats, a rope, a carabiner. That way I can launch it by myself pretty easy. Oh, we got this directional thing put back on there. Just put me some epoxy around it. Slid everything in place, clamped it, held it for a couple hours. Seems to be okay. I added us a safety chain here. These bolts right here were long, so I just tied it to there. Always a good idea to have you a safety chain. Not to mention this, I don't know how good this thing is. I haven't tested it yet, so have that safety chain as a backup, worst case scenario. And I guess right now what I'm gonna do, you guys see this. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is a decal. And that's kind of what it looks like. It's done peeled off on us regardless, and I cannot find a match. And it's just, I was gonna leave it alone, but it's bothering me too much. Since I can't find a decal, went to Walmart and got me some paint. 2 different colors. Anyhow, I did me a little test piece, and that lighter one came out a lot lighter. You can see that. I mean, that's not a perfect match, but what I think I'm gonna do is tape around this one block, try to get to that point, sand it, prep it, and then shoot some of this on there and see if I can't get somebody to make me a DuraCraft decal we can put on there. I mean, I don't think it's gonna look perfect, but I'm hoping it's gonna look a little better. It was a decal. And all this gray stuff is like sticker backing. I'm gonna have to try to get off the best I can. Luckily that came off pretty good. You can see it probably didn't take me about 5 minutes to get that off with the razor blade, but like I said, trying to get all this off or it's gonna look pretty bad. So all right, let's work on that for another day. Oh, we want to call that good. Most of them little light spots you see is where it dug into the paint. This area right here is just, I don't know, it will not come off. I tried the best I could. Hopefully the sander will kind of knock some of it off. Went ahead and hit this with some soapy water, wiped it down. I guess now what I'm gonna try to do is tape it off the best I can. That way I'm not scratching up all the rest of the paint when I try to sand it. Probably gonna maybe just wet sand it or something. I don't know. I don't wanna get it too crazy. Like I said, I ain't trying to get this thing perfect. I'm just trying to get it looking a little better. If it wasn't for that one little corner, I'd say it looked better already. All right, get this thing taped off and we'll sand it. Slight change of plan. I didn't wet sand it. I was worried that I'm gonna get water up under my tape and make it to where I gotta retape it or whatever. So slightly cutting some corners here. I ain't saying this is the right way to do it. This is how I'm doing it. I hit it with a green Scotch-Brite pretty good all the way around, knocked all the sheen off, and then went over it with some acetone. Like I said, I ain't trying to make this thing look perfect. If I wanted to look perfect, I'd have somebody else do it. So just trying to make it look better. Like if it was a 5 earlier, let's bring it up to about a 6, 6.5. Nowhere near a 10 is not my expectation. So I think this is going to be okay, I hope. We'll go ahead and just do several really light coats on here. We got some rain coming, so need to get this done today. Actually, I guess I ought to get online, and I got a decal guy, not the boat registration number guy, but another guy that I've used before. If any of you guys watched the Mastercraft build, he made me a custom sticker for that Mastercraft. Cannot find a match for this DuraCraft logo. They're all different looking, so hopefully I need to reach out to him and see if he can match that font and hook me up with one of those. Probably should have done that before I started doing all this. Anyhow, even if it's just as all gold, it'll look better than it did before, I think. All right, let's get to painting. I'll show you guys what it looks like after I get done destroying this boat. You squint your eyes just enough, it looks okay. Like I said, nowhere near perfect. We wasn't going for perfect. Reached out to my guy about the decal. Like I said, this side don't even look bad. I mean, it's all intact. I mean, you got some scuffs and scratches and some missing pieces, but this side is pretty good all the way down. That's why I kind of wanted to fix that one side, so you know, it matched. This side was all tore up. It kind of matched the whole boat, but I don't know. Just me being anal, I guess. I think if we can get DuraCraft decal on this side, probably won't be able to tell too much, especially once we get a little dirt on it. Everything will match pretty good. All right. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'll say that. Glad it's over with, and I think it looks a whole lot better already. I said earlier, these trailer lights are more than suspicious. They just kind of twist together with some brown electrical tape. This one ain't connected to nothing. It's a green, and you have a white going to a white. Usually white is the ground, so I don't know. I actually plugged it up to my truck, and I had brake lights and turn signals, but no running lights. So instead of trying to trace all this back and figure out what's going on, I just went ahead and bought a new wiring harness. I mean, they're like $10 on Amazon, so go ahead and slap that on there. That way I don't have to worry about that. Old non-working Lowrance fish finder. New Lowrance fish finder that works, I hope. It's going through, it has to be some kind of startup simulator. That's what it's doing right now. I guess it's like a display showing you stuff or whatever. Yeah, it says simulating. So, all right, hopefully it works. Looks better at least. Let's go ahead and knock this motor stuff out. Impeller came in and the fuel filter. Go ahead and do those two things real quick. Glad I did that. This is an impeller that was in it. Done broke a fin off. And actually, this fin was lodged up in the water pump part, like it was fixing to get sucked up into the motor. Probably caught that just in time. Always check your impellers. Very important. Even if it's pumping water, most outboard companies recommend you change the impeller like every year. I think that's a little excessive, you know, unless you're putting 1,000,000 hours on your motor every year. You know, every 2 years, check the impeller, for real. All right, went ahead and replaced that fuel filter. See, we got that new impeller in. We'll go ahead and turn the water on, crank it up, and make sure everything's doing the things that it's supposed to be doing. Sure it's pumping water good, and we don't have a massive fuel leak or something. Oh yeah. That's a good stream right there. Cool. Not leaking anything. That's cool too. Everything seems to be good though. All right. And I added my old Minn Kota 2-bank charger. I took off my G3 on here and added to these batteries. Try to clean up the wiring a little bit. I know it looks like a rat nest over there, but really ain't much else I can do with it. A lot of it's just how long these cords come from that charger. You gotta wire them up. Anyhow, I went ahead and put this liquid tape on the batteries too. This is some pretty good stuff. You have problems with, you know, your terminals corroding. I mean, everybody does. Just being out in the weather and the water and all that. This stuff really helps a lot. I use it on my big boat. After I started using this stuff, you don't have to mess with your connections near as much. You don't have to replace them. They don't corrode real bad. All right, get these batteries charged up, hopefully. The other day I noticed this speedometer is broke right here. This bracket that holds it on. And I noticed when I was routing the wires for the transducer that the little tube was broken too. So went ahead and ordered a whole new kit for it. These aren't very expensive. I mean, they're pretty cut and dry. One tube goes in the back of your speedometer, your gauge, and you run it all the way through, and it just attaches into this right here. Hopefully my bolt holes will be the same. I'll go ahead and put this on, knock this little project out. All right, my line is not near as tight as they had it. They had it like straight 90. I was scared it was going to end up pulling out of the bottom, so I left a little slack in mine. But this one is actually working, so mine's better, right? All right, that is that. Y'all already know these block letters ain't going to work for me. Let's do something about that. That looks a little bit better. I ain't got my registration stickers in yet, but they're in the mail. I also got my DuraCraft decal on. I think that looks pretty decent too. All right, dudes, you have to excuse me. Sweating my butt off. I just got done redoing the bearings on this trailer. And this left side wheel had a little slop to it. I went ahead and replaced the bearings in it because they was a little funky, and went ahead and repacked the ones on the right hand side. I'm gonna move on to these boat seats. I know I talked about replacing them. Had a hard time finding some boat seats that match because they're freaking green. White would look okay, but it's hard to find just plain white. They're all white and blue or white and red, and that wouldn't match at all. Found some that would look really good in the boat, but they're very, very expensive. Man, I ain't trying to spend $800-900 on some boat seats. I was going to buy some cheaper ones. I was going to look at them when I was scrolling on Instagram one day, and I had a ad pop up for, I think, sofarefinish.com. If you guys have seen this stuff before, but it's like vinyl looking replacement sheet, so it's just peel and stick. You cut them to whatever you want and stick them on. They're relatively cheap. I want to say these smaller ones were like $9, and I got this one really big one. I don't remember how much it was, and it don't match perfectly, but it's pretty close. They had a lot of different colors to choose from. Just thought maybe, you know, why not give something new a try? And that's what I'm gonna do. I got this stuff laying out, which I need to move it to where it's kind of sunny. I live in the woods, can't tell by my background. Get it to kind of relax a little bit, trim it a little bit. It's not gonna be perfect, like I said, just trying to cover up some of these bad spots. Here, I'll show you. You know, like the top of these seats, just put it on here, fold it down. Yeah, we're gonna have a seam or a line right here. And like I said, it don't match perfectly, but I just feel like, you know, hopefully this will look a little bit better than this. Tops of the seats, I got this one long piece for the bottom part of this seat. Like I said, it's not gonna go all the way across, but hopefully we can make it look decent-ish. I don't know, I kind of just want to try it out and see if it works okay. Hoping, you know, the colors being off will be a little bit better than having a giant hole in a wet butt anytime you're trying to drive the boat around. Got enough to do the 2 little single seats too. I'm gonna let this stuff hopefully warm up a little bit, because they sent it in a package apparently this big, which these little ones aren't that bad, but this big one, you see it's got a million creases and folds in it now. As I'm waiting on this stuff to try to heat up a little bit, I'm gonna mess with the tilt and trim fluid. It's kind of slow going up and down. I think that's the problem, or at least that's the easy fix. I've got my fingers crossed on that. So do that while this heats up. Hopefully we can make the interior look a little bit better. I think we'll chalk this up as one of them good from far, but far from good things. Kind of like most of them girls on Tinder. See, in the shade, it don't look too bad. Really surprised about how this stuff wasn't that sticky. It didn't want to stick in certain spots. You see, you get closer, it's not too great. And that so much whiter than the cream. This is a beige or off-white or something. Tried to church this bottom part up by 82 piecing it, which I think looking at it through the camera, it looks better than it actually does in real life. You see in the sunlight, it don't really match too great. But, I mean, you know, if it keeps the seats from getting your butt wet, I guess it's a plus. I don't know how long this stuff will last. You see that spot right there? Had a little hole right there, and I put that patch. See, it's not sticking. Maybe the heat from the sun will help it stick. A little spot right there too. I would say if you got some little bitty spots to patch in a boat, I'd try it. But big spots, man, I don't know. You might want to just opt for a new seat if you're wanting it to look pretty good. I mean, would I use it again? Probably not. But am I okay with it? Absolutely. At minimum, $400 for new seats. I think I'm gonna live with it. All right, I think all we really got left to do, I do have a couple little things. I fixed the trim. I bled it a bunch of times, added some fluid to it, bled it. I probably did it like 10 times. And it seems to be working a lot better now. A little cleaning to do. Attach some wires that's hanging down. I think all we really like to do is take this thing out, see how she does, and get her on down the road to somebody else. All right, dudes, we've got another boat in the books. Can't really say a boat build because didn't really do a whole lot to it. It's actually more of a boat rehab, if you will. Kind of more of the direction I'd really like to go with the channel than doing John boats, even though I know building the John boats is what kind of drives the views and what makes money. But for my own sanity, that's what I'd really like to do, is get different types of boats and just mess with them, especially when I can get them cheap as this one. So I'd like to give my son a little shout out, Easton. He's the one that put me on this deal. A girl he went to school with, I believe it was her dad, that was wanting to get rid of the boat. It's just one of them good deals where an old school guy that doesn't mess with Facebook, so kind of word of mouth, hey, I want to sell my boat if you run across anybody. So that worked out perfect. Not that I stole the boat. I mean, this is the second most expensive boat I've bought. Only second to that Mastercraft. That Mastercraft was, I think I spent $10,000 to buy that boat. So nowhere near that. But compared to the little John boats I've been buying for hundreds of dollars, kind of went over in that aspect. Put a little bit more money than I was planning on. I was hoping like 500 bucks, and I think we came in at $800, $900. I think I'll have to put it on paper to make sure. Didn't do a million different things to the boat. We could have done a lot more. We could have ripped all the carpet out. We could have replaced the seats, put in a new trolling motor. But the way I look at it, I got this boat listed right now for $5,000. I got some wiggle room. I will take less than that, you know, in a week or so. But even if I did all that stuff to it, in my area, you know, that's just going to be more curb appeal. I don't think I'll be able to get any much more than $5,000 out of the boat with all that stuff on it. So one reason I kind of didn't do it, even though I know it would be better for this video to drastically improve this boat, but I have to look at it in a monetary sense, you know. A lot of these John boats that I've been losing money on or breaking even is kind of chapping me a little bit. So I'm happy to be able to get one that I should be able to turn a little bit of profit on. That makes me feel a little bit better about messing with these boats. Now, if this boat sits here very long, I do see myself probably digging into it and messing with some stuff. Them seats really bother me. I wish that them patches had turned out a little bit better. Like I said, they're effective, is they're not soaking in moisture anymore. Your butt's not going to get wet, but they're still kind of an eyesore. I don't really want to spend that money, but if this boat sits here without being sold, I really can't get another project until I move this one. So I might get a little itch and want to either do that, and I also kind of been wanting to buff the paint too. I recently buffed my wife's Jeep, with the hood of her Jeep. It got scratched really bad, and it's the first time I've ever buffed anything. It's kind of hard work, and her Jeep's black too, so I was pretty nervous about that. But it came out pretty nice. So while I have my buffing mentality, you know, if it sits here long enough, I'll mess with that too. Probably won't do a video about that unless it's just something drastically different with the boat. Really nice boat. I've taken it out 3 times so far. Seems like the motor is running better and better each time. I haven't had any problems with the motor, but that's just kind of how 2-strokes are, in my opinion. The more you use them, the happier they are. One of the worst things you can do to a 2-stroke is to just sit it in your yard and not run it for a couple years. You know, it's just gonna, cobwebs get built up in it, as they say, and you gotta blow them out. 39 miles per hour. In my head, I was thinking 43 was what I was guessing. But I think it's that prop, because this thing has an amazing hole shot. This thing gets on plane in like 3 or 4 seconds. So if it was my boat to keep, I would not change the prop just to gain, you know, who knows, 3 miles an hour, you know, more top speed. I really like that get up and go that it has. Because if you go to a 19 or 21 pitch prop, it's going to lose a little bit of that hole shot. It's going to feel a little bit sluggish off the line. But that's just me. That's my opinion. I think it's got, you know, it's got some more top end speed if you wanted to, but I'm happy with it the way it is. And I guess that's going to be about it. I might do the little video on the bearings. I actually have some other videos in mind. You guys might have seen my post on Instagram and Facebook asking about, you know, what's the best John boat in your opinion. I've been doing a little bit of research and digging at work, trying to find information on John boats and maybe compile all the information and do a little video on that, on some of the top brand John boats. But anyhow, hopefully it won't be that long before I get some more videos out, and hopefully it won't be that long before I can get rid of this boat and get another boat. There's a few boats on Marketplace that are kind of pricey that I would like to get my hands on. They're a little bit different, another different type of build. But if not, I do have some savings, you know, set aside for the channel, or if I got to do another John boat, I will. Probably would be the smart thing to do with the channels and what generates the views on the channel. But anyhow, I'm rambling. I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you on the next one.